This week on Behind the Video, we have a special interview episode, and this is with Heather Fay. She's based out of New Haven, Connecticut, not too far up the road from me, and she has built an enormous audience of more than 600,000 people, not on YouTube, but on Google+. So we're going to talk to her and learn more about how the Hangouts feature really helped grow her audience. All that and more on Behind the Video, episode number 36.
This episode of Behind the Video is brought to you by the Independent Media Network. The Independent Media Network helps journalists and content creators create their own jobs by building sustainable online businesses. If you're an unemployed or underemployed journalist or content creator, visit imnct.com for more information. Speaking to the one and only Heather Fay. How are you, Heather?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
A lot has happened since we last spoke, but I wanted to we'll start for people that maybe don't know you. Tell us your story. So you're a singer-songwriter from New Haven. You get on this thing called Google Plus before a lot of other people did, and what happened?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to, first of all, let me just a warning, I have a bit of a flu still, so if I start coughing, I apologize.
Okay. I'm glad we're doing this over Google Plus and not in person.
I know, exactly. Yeah, really. Let's see, back in July of 2011, I got an invite to beta on Google Plus, and you know, at that point, I was intrigued, and I definitely wanted to see what it was all about. So I hopped on and, started kind of putting myself out there, my music out there, and doing, Hangouts on air. Well, actually, they didn't have it on air back then, but doing, Hangout concerts and meeting people and
Hangout was only like 10 people at that point, right?
At that point, it was only 10 people. There were a couple people who were able to, a guy, Cam Meadows, and he was doing a thing called Hangout Party. So he was actually it was the early days of on air. He would on air it, which was cool. So I did Hangout concerts, and I started doing open mic Hangouts with other musicians to meet them, and just what I got back was unbelievable. It was just people talking and commenting and excited about my music. And, I was at a phase in my musical career where I was kind of, I'm a mom, I have 2 young kids, and I was in grad school, and, I was kind of like, I'm going to give this, how much longer can I give this music thing the attention it needs, because it needs a lot of attention, but also be the mom I want to be, and, kind of have, I do believe in having a backup, because life is uncertain, and especially when you have children, you can't just kind of fly by the seat of your pants. You have to have some sort of, security. Right. So, keeping, I really was getting to the point where I was like, I'll put it out there and see what happens, and this is kind of it for me, and if people listen, awesome. If they don't, then I got to switch gears. And people listened, and this, the Google Plus community came forward and really honestly changed my direction as a musician. And, it's been kind of growing ever since. And so really honestly, I do, before Google Plus, I'll say it all the time, sorry, my son's in the background. Before Google Plus, my musical dream was kind of dying, and now it's very much alive, and it's I'm so thankful and excited. I'm still excited. It's a year and a half later, and I'm still like, I can't believe it. It's so cool.
So you built this audience like essentially 10 people at a time. Is that right?
Well, I mean, there was a lot of it had to do with the Hangouts, and the early, on-air kind of broadcasting thing, where people could see it, and it was really, it was person by person by person by person, and word of mouth, and people sharing circles, and sharing my posts on their pages. I was amazed by the how willing people were to share my music and kind of introduce me to their friends via their posts, and invite me. And early on, we had a lot of people early on who were doing their own shows. Matthew Rappaport was one who was doing a show, Hangout Conversations, and he invited me on as a musical guest. And there were so many people who were kind of doing their own thing, and brought me in to showcase and let me help spread the word. So it was the word community really is what it's about. It's about people inviting each other in to share their talents, and word of mouth, it's
right, takes off from there. And it was one of the things of Google Plus that I think differentiates it perhaps from other platforms, is that it does make it easier to find strangers, right? You're not, you certainly have the follower concept that Facebook and Twitter have, but there's something about maybe the inclusion of the Hangout component where you're actually talking with the people that you're talking to.
Absolutely, and I know that this has been talked about a lot, but it's very true. As a musician or as an artist or something, if you have something that you are creating or that you are, that you want to share with people, being able to communicate one-on-one and have the people part of your, journey, is not only powerful for me, because I trust, I trust my fans, and then they're not fans here on Google Plus. They really are family, because I really rely on them to be honest with me, and to they'll voice their opinions, and I appreciate that. And so it is, it's I got lost track. Sorry, my son just distracted me. Sorry.
But it also speaks to actually what you're able to do here, because it's hard to build a music career from home, right? I mean, you can't. Like, you think about a stay-at-home worker, right? Yeah. Someone who maybe can program computers to do some marketing work or something like that. But typically, musicians really can't work from home most of the time. But
exactly.
You've been working from home and performing from home too, right?
And that's been that for me. That was the life changer, because, like I said, I'm a mom, and I can't. I'm at a phase in my personal life where I could, but I don't feel comfortable, jumping in a van with my band and going on tour and doing the old school way of, being gone from my husband and my family. And I can't do that. As a mom, I can't do that. Not right now. As the kids get older, I can take chunks of time away but I couldn't do that. So the idea that I could put the kids to bed and go downstairs and do a hangout and get my music out into the world was life-changing for me. And really, honestly, I think people were a bit skeptical about whether or not you were really building a fan base, truly, and I can say 100% that I am building a fan base just as much as, being home and doing it through Google Plus Hangouts. I'm building a fan base just as much as that person. Sorry, is it so loud?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
This is my life, so.
Yeah, right. Well, I think this really illustrates it, right?
Exactly. Just as I can do an interview,
right? And it's fun.
Yeah,
and I think there's an authenticity to having that happen, and I think that's been we're seeing that on YouTube, that the more successful YouTube, and I've seen this myself too, like the stuff that I've made that's less, I don't want to say less professional, but is more authentic, that it's less produced is the better, right? I think so. And I think I've had my kids bomb my hangout concerts, you know what I mean? Like, I'll be in the middle of a song and they'll come and like pick up their instruments and stuff, so this is I do share my life with my followers. This is my life. My kids, my son running around in his costume, this is my life, and I'm trying to I'm hoping that for anyone else who's out there who's a mom or has another passion or has a 9-to-5 job or has things, and they're feeling like they can't follow their passion because they're too busy, they're limited, whatever, this is a way to do it. You can do it through avenues like Google Plus Hangouts. You can get out there in the world and still be at home, and find a balance. Right, and it seems like you've been able to do that so far. Yeah. And when we last spoke I think it was April, so almost just a little less than a year ago. Yeah. And you've gone from 13,000 followers at that point to now 676,000. What happened? How did that happen so quickly?
A lot of that has to do. I've been lucky enough to. Sorry. Hey, Rob. This is Sunday morning.
That's okay.
I've been lucky enough to, Google put me on their suggested users list for musicians, which was a huge honor, being put on that. And that opened up a floodgate of followers for me, being recommended right next to, Lady Gaga and Madonna. And then there's me. It's cool. Like, what the heck? I'll take it. Wow.
Yeah,
that was, I took screenshots of that. I was like, this is cool.
That's fantastic.
But really, you know, a lot of that had to do with being on the suggested users list, and you know, a lot of circle shares, a lot of, you know, it's you know, it's that sort of thing. And I've been amazed. I still look at, you know, the numbers, and it kind of blows my mind. So.
But it must be exciting too at the same time.
It's unbelievable. I mean, like I said, a little over a year ago, you know, I really, if someone had told me that I'd be where I am now, and you know, I'm still in the beginning phases of my career, so I know I've got a long way to go, but if anyone had said to me, like, you're going to be, you know, you're going to have this many followers and you're going to have had these opportunities and you know, this incredible fan base globally, no way would have believed it. Not at all. So.
And you had an album before all this happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you had made that album. How many years ago was that?
That was released in 2009.
So that was what, four years ago?
Yeah. Almost 4 years ago.
And that was something you did yourself, or did you have were you signed by a label or anything?
No. I did it myself. Yeah. No, I was contacted by a producer, independent producer. By the name of Eric Lichter. He owns Dirt Floor Studio in he used to be in Chester, Connecticut. I think he's in around that same area. And we started talking. He liked my songs, and you know, he was kind of the first step in my progression of putting myself out there and my music out there, and really taking the chance to try to do it. And you know, we made that album together in his studio, and released it on my own independently. And you know, it was a huge learning experience for me because I'd never done anything like that. And
it's hard to market sometimes too, because I guess it's easier. Well, it's getting easier, I guess, for you, right? Because, and then we'll talk about the second album in a second. But you know, as this follower base increased, did you see? Because you're on iTunes, you're on Spotify, and all that stuff. Have you seen a good spike in sales? Absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt about it. You know, I mean, it still comes in waves, but it's you know, now that I have the audience and you know, my friends, my family, my family, I call them, you know, they're literally, you know, out there cheerleading for me and recommending it to their friends. And I mean, the sales have definitely gone up. And now, so you've got a new album in the works, and you've done what a lot of other people who have followers of 600,000 on a social network is you went out and did a crowdsourcing effort. Now, you already had started the album, right? But obviously there's expenses, ongoing things that you have to kind of fund. So why don't you talk about that and what that process was like? Well,
I mean, literally, you know, I was iffy about doing. I knew I was going to do a second album. I just didn't know to what degree. My bass player is also a producer. He does. You know, he's also a professor of music and stuff, and so he has access to he has a home studio, and he was like, let's just start, you know, recording. And you know, he's basically working for free, and my mandolin player, the three of us would just sit in the studio and start laying down the songs. And in the back of my mind, honestly, I still feel like, you know, if I'm going to do this album, I want to do it right. I want to give this everything I have, and do the absolute best I can. And so that if down the road, you know, God forbid, knock wood, if down the road nothing happens with my music more than what is now, which I'm you know, I'll keep this fan base and I'll keep these people with me in my journey, my life journey, you know, and my musical journey. But if nothing else happens, at the end of the day, I can say I gave it 1,000%. I did the best album I could, and I gave it a shot, because otherwise I think I'd always have regrets. And the thing that came into play there was the money. You know, it's not, like I said, I'm being an independent musician means you're pretty much not making.
You're starving.
A whole lot. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yeah. And
that's what people love about it, though, right? It's because I think maybe to some degree people like finding a new musician that no one's heard yet.
Yeah. I do too. I love that, you know, as well. And so I was scared. I'm not going to lie. I was very, very nervous about putting the fundraiser together and doing the crowdsourcing, because obviously you're setting yourself up for a huge failure if no one buys it, no one pre-orders, and no one wants your perks, and you're kind of just like, you know, like it would, you know, and also with all that's going on in the world, to go out there and be like, there's a million more worthwhile places you can put your money, and I'm asking you to give your money to me to make music. It seemed, you know, it just like I said, everything that's going on in the world, it just felt I was conflicted with that. But, you know, a lot of people told me, do it, and, you know, be yourself and put it out there. And if it, you know, again, have no regrets. And so I did. And within the first, I posted it on December 1st. And by January 16th, I'd reached my goal. And
you're still bringing in money.
I still have 41 days left. Yeah. For pre-orders, and, you know, the perks are still available. And, you know, I'm completely, I mean, I cried. I couldn't believe that people were so willing to help me get this music into their hands, you know, and it's something that I so want to be able to pay forward, you know, in my life, because it's an incredible feeling when someone believes in you, when someone, you know.
Oh, sure. And a lot of them gave you more than maybe what you would normally get for an album these days, too, right? I mean,
my gosh.
A whole bunch. I mean, a majority were over $25. Some were as high as $100 or $150, which is incredible. And this is incredible. And you chose Indiegogo over Kickstarter. Was there a reason for that?
I did. You know, I researched that a lot, because you know, Kickstarter is great. I was the thing that I've given to Kickstarter campaigns. You know, to my friends who are artists, and they haven't reached their goal. And I've been so disappointed that they didn't get the money that I wanted them to have, you know, and I'm sure everyone kind of feels that way, that it's almost like Kickstarter saying, nope, sorry, you can't, you know.
Right. Dreams
it's a no-go.
are shut.
You were this close, but no go.
Yeah.
So Indiegogo, you can, for a bigger percentage, they take a bigger percentage if you don't reach your goal, but you can, you know, you can still get the funds. So I liked that. Excuse me.
So a little less risk.
And I liked that they were a little bit newer, and yeah. So that was the main reason.
And it's worked. So you've brought in $7,700 so far, and it's on the way. So that's exciting. Now you've invited people into your recording of your album too, right? So so in addition to doing your usual, I saw you had like a nice holiday concert by the fireplace and stuff. So in addition to doing all that kind of stuff, you've also been recording this album live in front of everybody, I guess, that wants to watch. And have you been getting a lot of feedback? Because a lot of people following you are fellow musicians too. So it's not just people like me who like a good song, but it's people that are really, I'm sure, being very much a part of that process. Have you had any instances where your viewers have directed you in a certain way on the recording?
Where they've directed me? No, right. I mean, for the most part, it's been they're just interested in seeing, you know, kind of what happens, and being kind of a fly on the wall and being able to ask the questions, you know, because I do check in. Being in the studio is kind of, from my perspective, it must be, having been there, it would be kind of a little bit, it's slow. It's a slow process.
Right.
So when you're watching, you've got to, you know.
So you put it on its background.
Exactly. And, but there were a lot of people who've never even seen the inside of a studio or seen, you know, so they had a lot of questions. And that was cool for me, because I'm like, oh yeah, they're seeing this for the first time. This is something interesting. And as much as I may feel badly because, oh, don't be bored, you know, we're just laying down this right now, it'll take a little time. They're like, no, I want to, so what is that behind you? And who's that guy? And, you know, so like I said, this album is, not to sound hokey, but like, it was so very much inspired by Google Plus in my family on Google Plus, that to have them there with me is just, it makes it more special and exciting. So I'm going to continue to bring, you know, to do the Hangouts on air from the studio, from the, pretty much for every, when I play shows in support of the album, when I do my album release, it'll all be, you know, I'll be doing it all on air, because, you know, this is kind of our album. So
fascinating. Well, it's exciting to see how that develops. And I think a lot of people would like to be able to listen to the songs that they saw being constructed, because it's not like playing a concert, right? I mean, there's different tracks that you lay down. It takes there's a lot of construction to it, right? And,
we did that with the holiday song, the little holiday single I put out. We did that in one day, and the people that were there, I made sure to like ping them in when the song was done and I had it released. I was like, this is what you guys were listening to. This is the finished product. And they were like, oh, you know. So, you know, to be there, I was there. I listened to you when you laid down that vocal, you know, it was,
right.
So it's almost like they're in the room with you.
Right. And speak to album sales now. So you've got your album out there. You've got the single that you did. Are you selling it on all the major digital platforms? Or are you on like some of these streaming services too?
Yeah, I am on, my first album's all over. The Scrape Me Girl's all over iTunes, Google Play, Amazon MP3, Spotify, I think it's even on there, and, you know, all over. The second album, well, the single, the Christmas single I only did on Google Play, and because there's, you know, there's something to be said about kind of just the ease with which Google Play, you know, it's so easy to just get up there myself. I don't have to go through.
It's like with iTunes, you need to go hire a third party.
It's a third party, or it's a longer process.
Yeah.
I did Thriller. My cover of Thriller, I did on the 3 major. I think I did at least the 3 or 4 major. So I did Google Play, iTunes, Amazon, and I'm forgetting one, but. The cover of Thriller I did pretty, you know, a vast digital release.
And what are you seeing from like Spotify as far, because their model's different, obviously, that I'm paying a monthly fee and then they're paying you some kind. I would imagine it's not much, right?
No, I have mixed feelings about Spotify. As a fan of music, I love it. As a maker of music, I am not a fan. It's not to try. I think it's, you know, like I said, as a fan of music, I think it's fantastic.
Right.
I mean, literally, it's 0.0000000 of a penny,
right?
per 500 plays. You know what I mean?
Oh, really? So you haven't seen a check from them at all?
I see change.
Okay.
But you know, and I'm not sure what their model is. I'm not sure. I obviously, if you're you know,
if you're
Beyonce,
Lady Gaga or something,
or Lady
right.
Gaga, you're making money off of Spotify.
Right.
If you're Heather Fay, or, you know, much lesser known, if you're a nobody, then you're not. Then it's not. You know, it's not a source of income, really. And I wonder what they'll do to change that, if they will.
Because it's hard, right? Because as an independent artist, and I think we're seeing in all media. You know, I just got back from New Media Expo in Vegas, and one of the big discussion topics was this notion of artisanal media, right? Where we, you know, where audiences are becoming, you know, there's beginning to be orbits around certain topic areas. You know, I'm a big technology geek, so there's a lot of stuff that I mean, it is now taken time away from what I would normally have watched on regular television, right?
Yeah.
So all those mass media consumption opportunities are slowly, not dwindling right now, but certainly getting in that direction.
Yeah.
And I think music is certainly, I mean, music has always had its niche followers, but I think more so now that here you've been able to build up this huge following, and your music is certainly wide appealing, but you know, your fans are fans of independent artists, and you know, there's a lot of them, but certainly there's not a billion of them like Lady Gaga might have, right?
Yeah.
So the models have to maybe change a little bit.
Yeah, and it's just about reaching, you know, getting in there, you know, somehow.
Right. is the hard part.
Yeah.
And does Google Play give you what, like a 70-30 split on the revenue?
Ooh, I don't remember. I think it's, oh gosh, I don't remember offhand. It's the same. It's the same. It's comparable to
whatever the industry is. Yeah. Right. Now, have you seen a lot of crossover to other social networks? So you're on Facebook, you're on YouTube. Is there been a lot of that kind of crossover there?
I've had, you know, my YouTube, my subscribers have gone up. It's not huge, but and my views have definitely gone up just with the integration of, you know, YouTube and Google Plus, you know, Twitter, you know, I'm over there. I actually just got verified on Twitter, which I was totally blown away and excited about.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't happen to everybody. They just come to you, right? And
yeah, and I had no idea. All of a sudden it was there. Yeah, my good friend Jessica Northey over there just called me one day and was like, "You're verified." And I was like, "What?"
That's like the real. I mean, people that don't know, like being verified on Twitter is like the validation of your existence as a human being.
I'm a real girl.
Yeah.
So that was really awesome. To be honest, Facebook, I use my personal Facebook account so much more than I use my music, and I know it's bad. I need to get over to the music page a little bit more. I'm just so entrenched in Google Plus, and
that's where your audience is, right?
That's where a majority of my audience is. Although it is, you know, the Facebook numbers are growing. I'm getting some crossover from Google Plus over there. It's just a little bit. It's a little. You know, it's just a little quieter over there on Facebook. I'm used to that.
And it doesn't lend itself well to this kind of this kind of meeting of fans. I mean, they have the pages and everything, but you know, it's become so algorithmic in that it's not always giving your stuff to the people that might want to see it without paying the tax, right?
Yeah, there's that whole the whole pay to promote thing, which, you know, when you're an independent musician and, like, you know, starving independent musician, to have to pay to have your stuff, you know, just your post of, hey, I've got a new song, or hey, I went to the zoo today, you know, or just to be able to engage with your audience, to have to pay for it is a little counterintuitive for. Yeah,
I can imagine. and you know, and then you look at YouTube on the flip side, who actually pays you for sharing content with others. I don't know if you've turned on monetization or not, but
I have, and it's, you know, that's very cool. And I'm excited to get more videos done. That's one thing I can't wait to get some new videos out there.
Right, and just get them out there and viewed. Yep. So, well, it sounds like the family's running around there, so I don't want to take too much more.
Is it so loud? I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. It's a Sunday morning, and I don't want to. You know, the time is precious.
They're jumping off the couch right now.
Oh, I think we just lost you. Are you back?
Oh, I'm here.
Okay, here you go.
Can you see me? Okay.
Yeah, there you go. So what we got going on now for the next 3 to 6 months? You're going to finish up the album. It's going to be released on, I'm assuming, all major platforms. Are you doing a tour? Where can people find more about you and your music?
Well, obviously follow my Google Plus page, and my Twitter, which is Heather Fay Music, at Heather Fay Music. And yeah, I'm going to finish the album. Right now, it really comes down to focusing on getting the recording done, getting the artwork done, getting the, you know, figuring out release dates and everything. Hoping for a spring, early summer release, fingers crossed. And they'll definitely, I'm going to be booking shows. I'll be doing a album release on air as well as in real life. And yeah, and then I'll be playing a lot in support of the album. I'll be, you know, booking shows and hopefully I'd love to, you know, meet so many more people that I've only had, you know, been able to do a lot more hurling, as they say, hang out in real life. So yeah, just.
What do they call that, hurling?
Hurling, HIRL.
Oh, so there's an actual hangout term for meeting in real life?
Hurling.
Okay, I didn't realize that's a new one for me. So, see, we actually met in real life first, and then and now we're doing the reverse. So
exactly.
Heather and I were on a panel together at Quinnipiac University about a year ago about exactly what we're talking about. Well, it's great to talk to you again. We're going to keep following you as your career progresses, so we can say we knew you when.
Oh,
but it's fantastic just to see the level of growth there, and to see Google Plus working for. You know, it's funny because it gets a lot of criticism, but it seems like for you it's certainly, you know, it's resulted in some real results there. So. Yeah,
I'm very thankful. It's awesome. I think people come and see the light, and then they don't. You know, it takes a matter of them getting them over here, and then they're like, "Oh, I get it.
I get it now." Exactly. Yeah. And you know, and what's funny too is that those followers now who've circled you, you know, you're now influencing their search results without them even knowing it. You know, so everything that you post is giving a higher priority to search. So if they're searching for a search term that you've posted on your page, your influence on them becomes more apparent, which is kind of the secret weapon that they've developed there.
Oh, that's interesting.
So you have a lot of control over this.
Wow, good. Because I have no control over anything else.
Exactly. Well, you know, that's what makes life so fun. So
exactly.
Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll certainly you know, get in touch with you again in the next couple months, and we'll get a nice article written up there about latest developments, and we'll look for that album in the spring. But in the meantime, it looks like there's a lot of stuff people can buy in the interim here. So they got the Thriller cover on Google Play, as well as the Christmas album that you released this year too. So
and the Scrape Me Girl, which is my first album, which is on there and iTunes, and you can check it out. You can go to my website too, and all the information's there as well.
And the Christmas song is free.
Yep. You can save it up for next Christmas, or you can listen all summer long.
All summer long. Listen when, like what they say, Christmas in July or something. You can do it then too. So, well, Heather, thanks again for joining us, and we'll let you get back to Sunday morning, and we will talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on.
Okay.
We'll talk to you.
Okay.
Stories for this episode were compiled by producer Jason Perrier. Follow him on Twitter at JASONPERRIER. Behind the Video is a production of Ape Digital Incorporated and the Independent Media Network, LLC. All rights reserved.